All right, we're going to get started. We'd like to welcome everyone here to our city council meeting, those who are here in the chamber and those who are watching on SF-17. Thank you. We are going to start our meeting with our motivational, inspirational message by Adam Gull. So we'll invite Adam to come up.
Good morning, or good evening.
There you go. Close.
School teacher.
So I'm Adam Gull. I'm an educator at Park Elementary here in Spanish Fork. And just want to kind of introduce, my school is a little bit different than most schools in the community, in the district. We are a Leader in Me school, which means that we fully implement and integrate the 7 habits into our regular curriculum, along with the day-to-day curriculum. We also integrate leadership curriculum, which is based off of Stephen Covey's 7 habits. So we are a Leader in Me school. And the message that I want to bring to you today comes from one of those habits that we teach our children every day, and a habit that our students are learning to live each day as well. And the quote is from Stephen Covey. He says, "Don't compromise when you can synergize." And my message with that is that we are a growing city with new citizens from different backgrounds and cultures, and citizens that have called Spanish Fork their home their whole life. We all have different needs to help us grow and reach our full potential as men, women, children, citizens, and as human beings. I am grateful we live in a country where we have the opportunity to work together to discuss difficult decisions in a respectful manner, to have the freedom of speech and the freedom to vote. In other words, I am grateful we have the opportunity to synergize. If we will be humble enough to listen to others and work together for the greater good in our community. And that is actually another habit, which is habit number 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. We have difficult decisions that we are facing here in our community, and I think we're all aware of what they are. But as we talk with others and in our conversations in our neighborhoods, on social media, and just in our neighborhoods, that we will be able to listen to others, and that we can understand where they're coming from, and we can help them understand where we are coming from as well, where we can get to a point where we can synergize and work together. A little checklist that we can use to evaluate our individual level of synergy is this. 1, I value other people's strengths and learn from them. 2, I get along with others, even people who are different from me. 3, I seek out other people's ideas to solve problems and create better solutions. 4, I look for other alternatives. And number 5, I am humble. At Park Elementary, another meaning that we have, another phrase we use for synergy is together is better. And I feel that as we come together as a community, no matter what the outcome may be on what we vote on coming up in a few weeks, that we can still synergize and we can come together and we can look for the greater good in our community. And I'd like to leave that with you. And do I say prayer?
Yes.
And I'll start the prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we're grateful to meet together as a community and here at the City Council. And we pray that we will be able to discuss matters in a respectful way, and that we can come together and that we may synergize and do the best we can for each citizen in our community. We're grateful for the land that we've been blessed with. We're grateful for the resources we have. And we're grateful for the leadership and all of our citizens. And we pray that we will do the best we can for each other and for all citizens in Spanish Fork. We ask you to bless this city, to bless our surrounding friends in other cities, that we will be able to work together and solve problems, and that we will do the best to represent Spanish Fork and America. We are grateful for all that we've been blessed with, and we pray for these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
All right, I've asked Councilman Gordon to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Will the audience please rise? Please repeat the pledge. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we're going to do things a little different today on our public comments. Since this is, we're having a, I don't know what it's called. A mandated meeting about the bond issue. So how that works is each side will get equal amount of time. And so in order to do that, on our public comments, we're not going to have any public comments referring to the Life Center or this bond issue in order to maintain the equal time for each side that's going to be coming here later. So if you'd like to come up and address the council on any other issue than the bond and the Life Center, you're welcome to come up and address the council and the mayor.
Hi, I'm Brenda Evans, and I'm not here to make a comment about it, but I am here to announce the citizens' debate next Monday evening. It's at the fairgrounds in the Ponderosa Room. And this event has been planned, organized, and will be participated entirely by citizens. And they've worked very hard in the last several weeks. So we would appreciate if people could come and join us. It's going to be informational, and there's a lot to discuss, as we all know. So thank
You
you.
want to say the time and the date and where again?
Thank you. It's Monday, the 26th of October, in the Ponderosa Room at the fairgrounds, starting at 7 o'clock.
Right. Thank you.
Thanks, Brenda.
Thanks, Brenda.
Anyone else?
I'll jump in real quick. Just want to invite everybody. We've sent out a couple of things via Facebook and got some things on the city's website about this event that will be Thursday, this upcoming Thursday, so in 2 days, at the North Park Pavilion, where we'd love to have a great turnout of people from Spanish Fork. There's an effort that started a few months ago to develop a plan to simply prepare for the future and for future facilities for different modes of transportation other than the automobile in the south part of Utah County. So we're fortunate to host the one open house that will be held in connection with this regional planning effort here in Spanish Fork. Again, it's Thursday from 5 to 7 at the North Park Pavilion. We'll have probably hot dogs and that type of fare there. Yep, I did say hot dogs. So again, we hope that our community is very well represented. This is a great time to share your thoughts and ideas about how to best plan and prepare for the future.
Great. Thank you.
Since this seems to be the calendaring session, I got a couple things I'd like to announce. We do have 3 different open houses for people's information, 3 different elementary schools on the Life Center. So if people need to be informed or want to find out any more information about the Life Center or get clarification on any of their questions, we're holding one tomorrow night. These are all from 6 to 7:30. So tomorrow night at Riverview Elementary, and next Tuesday, the 27th at Larson, and then Wednesday, the 28th at Canyon Elementary. And again, these are just open houses to come and ask questions. There's not going to be a public forum or any public presentation. So wanted to let the public know that that's available to them as well if they have any questions or would like clarification on anything.
Right, thanks. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to council comments. Councilman Dart.
No comments tonight.
Councilman Gordon.
I would just ask everybody to please exercise your right to vote. You can start, they started today from 1 to 5. The next 2 weeks, you'll have early voting here at the city offices from 1 to 5 in the afternoon. And then, of course, the election will be our next city council meeting, November 3rd. On that Tuesday is election day. But please call or get to know the 4 candidates that are running, and I invite you to reach out to them if you have questions about any of the issues that are going on in our wonderful community. So I just want to encourage everybody to please vote. That's all I have.
Great. Councilman Davis.
Yeah, I just want to continue on with my thanks to the different departments that I've served under. And tonight I want to talk about public safety and our legal department, and talk a little bit about Junior Baker and his staff first, and how I appreciate his work and how he's helped the city council and the mayor and in different issues and trying to keep us out of trouble as we've served, and the skills and the professionalism that he has given us through teaching us mitigation on litigations and land issues as we've met in closed sessions and things like that. And I appreciate his staff and all that they've truly done for us. He's got a great staff. They're sort of fun to work with. Anyway, I appreciate that, Junior, and all that you've done. I appreciate Don Thomas and our emergency responders and all that they've truly done, and the professionalisms that they've gone through, and the training, and how it doesn't matter what aspect of a call they have, they are trained for it, and they know what to do, and the speed that they get there in, and I just appreciate Don and all the people that work under him. Brent Jarvis with our fire department, I truly appreciate him and love him dearly. I can't tell you how much he loves the people that work under him. He's truly a great fire chief, and he loves the city. And one of the things when I talked to him, he says, I just want you to tell the citizens how much, just thank them for all that they do for us. That's what kind of a guy he is. This is a brotherhood. The fire department's a brotherhood. They're all volunteer. It saves the city thousands and thousands of dollars. For a city that's 40,000 people, that's pretty good to continue to have a volunteer fire department, but they are awesome. And they have all the new equipment. They're very well trained. They train every Thursday. They're second to none. I just think they're great, and I would put them up against any professional fire department anywhere in the state. So I just appreciate Brent and all that he does for this city, because he really does love this city. And I'd like to thank Chief Adams and his department and these wonderful officers that we truly have that work under him. These guys are well trained and well educated, and in all aspects of the law. They leave their families and go into harm's way every day. They just don't know what's going to happen, you know, and I just can't express some of the things that they truly go through. They're kind and gentle in some aspects, but yet forceful and stern in other aspects. That's their training, and you would understand that if you know some of the cases that they have to go to. I appreciate Chief Adams. He keeps the city council informed weekly on what's going on. Plus, he also keeps us informed if something critical is happening at that time. He emails us and texts us and tells us what's going on, so we can communicate with him as something is going down at that time. I can't tell you how that helps us and respect what these officers really go through. They're under stress and pressure all the time, and I honestly feel like they're understaffed in a way, but they really need a lot more officers. But they do things like you would not believe with being understaffed like they are. They're just incredible people. They don't get the credit they truly deserve. These are great people, and I love them for what they do for our city. They love our city, and they They're there to protect us and help us. And if an officer ever pulls you over for speeding or anything, don't get mad at him. You ought to thank him, because he's protecting you, and he's protecting the citizens around you. That's what he gets paid for, and that's what his job is. And it's a tough job, but he does it because he loves what he's doing, what they're doing, and he loves you. And I want to thank Chief Adams personally. I love this guy. He is a great chief of police. He is very well educated and very knowledgeable and very well trained. I've worked with him for 20 years in a case, and watched him in action and seen how he has learned through the years and been trained through the years. And he has worked, when he was a detective, he worked with some of the greatest agencies and law enforcement agencies and lawyers in the nation. And he learned from them, but he also taught them a lot of wonderful skills and things. And I've watched him in action, and we truly have a great chief of police. We're very, very lucky. We're very lucky to have all these guys that work for us. And I truly appreciate all that they do for us. Just one other notion we had, or comment, we did have another Fiesta Day meeting. We have picked a grand marshal, but we have not talked to them yet. We will do that in the next couple of weeks, but we're going on with Fiesta Days, and this couple, they're awesome, and they were great assets to our community and well respected and did a lot of wonderful things for Spanish Fork, so I'm hoping they accept. But in the next couple of weeks, we will ask them, and we will continue on with Fiesta Days. That's all I have, Mayor.
Great. Councilman Mendenhall.
Yeah, a couple of things really quick, Mayor. First, I'd like to invite a gentleman up that I've known for a few years here in Spanish Fork, but has done some awesome things recently and to represent our city. Lyle, if you'd like to come up. This is Lyle Timmons from Spanish Fork here, lives on 100 South. And he's making noise as he comes up because he's going to tell you about what's around his neck and how we got him. It's a pretty amazing story. So, Lyle Timmons.
Good evening. I was quite fortunate this year down at the Huntsman World Senior Games. I've been down there 9 years now, and anyway, I competed in 3 kinds of basketball and softball and horseshoes, and was able to come away with a bronze, silver, and 2 gold medals. And the main thrust of it in talking with a fellow one day, and he was in gospel doctrine class. He was a teacher, and he said, we need to improve ourselves and get better. And he says, do you know anything that you want to get better at? And I raised my hand, and I said, yeah, I'd like to hit 25 straight free throws down in Huntsman World Games. And because what you do is you shoot 25 free throws, and then you shoot 6 three-pointers, and you're in the 5-year increment age-wise. You start with 50. Everybody down there is over 50. And so I'm in the 80-85 group now. So I went down there feeling kind of weak. I had surgery this summer, and I told my wife I'm not going to invite any of our grandkids or great-grandkids because I'm afraid I'm going to fall on my face. So anyway, out of the 25 free throws, I made 24. And that's the best I've ever done.
It wasn't the last one, was it?
No, it wasn't the last. It was about number 20. It rattled around, rolled around, and popped out.
I know that feeling.
No. But Mike's telling me about this new facility they're trying to get built, and I'll probably make good use of it. Don't live very far from it, and appreciate Spanish Fork. We've been here 10 years, and I played high school and college ball at Wichita State, and had my own cheering section there because I quit my freshman year, went out and did pretty good, and the coach wouldn't play me, so I just quit playing. And I got to my junior year, and there was a new head coach called Ralph Miller, who's one of the most successful college coaches around. And in the PE class, we had about 30 or 40 guys, and one of the guys was on the varsity, and he and I kind of become friends, and we were really close as far as shooting ability. And he said, "Why don't you come out for the varsity?" He said, "You hit every shot I can hit." And I said, "Well, I tried that once." He said, "Yeah, but it's different now." So I went out and made the team and was probably nowhere near a starter, but towards the end of the games, there'd be this chant in the stands, and all these 30 or 40 guys that I was in the PE class for, "We want Timmons, we want Timmons." And Miller reached down and said, "Come on up here." So fortunately, my first shot was a long shot out front, and I made it, and man, they went crazy. But I think they were playing on the team through me, but it was exciting because I had my own cheering section. But my wife and I have been here, as I said, 10 years. We've didn't think we would stand the winters, but fortunately the first winter was a real mild one, so we thought, "Oh, this is easy." But they haven't all been that way. But not too bad. Got a good neighbor with a backhoe with a bucket in front, and he scrapes off the lawn or the driveway and keeps the snow off. So anyway, I appreciate the opportunity. Mike just said you ought to come down and show them, because I don't know too many 85-year-olds that do this. So.
That's awesome.
Tell them what the other medals were for, Lyle, the
Oh, it's,
free throws and then 3-point?
yeah, free throws and 3-point, and then I organized the 80 to 85 3-on-3 basketball team, and a couple of guys from Payson, one from Lehigh, and myself from here, and 2 from St. George. So we got the gold medal in that. And the silver we got in a hot shot, where you have 5 spots marked on the floor, and you have 1 minute to shoot, rebound your own ball. And then we got a bronze in 4-on-4 basketball. That's full court. So didn't get anything in softball, but but I play I pitch in the City League here in Spanish Fork, and they sure have a nice facility, and love to play with the young guys, 30 and 40-year-olds, because if they don't hit over the fence, they'll catch it. Where you're playing for a 79-plus team down there, and some of the guys don't bend over too good. Anyway, appreciate the opportunity to be here, and thank you.
Thanks, Lyle.
Thank you,
Thanks a
Lyle.
lot.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Lyle told me that story this week, Mayor, and I immediately said, "Hey, if Spanish Fork wants a chance to make the postseason this year, they better call you up and ask you to come down and teach some people how to make some free throws." So congratulations. That's a neat honor for a resident of Spanish Fork. Lyle's a good guy and was a good neighbor years ago, so appreciate that. One other thing really quick, Mayor, Seth, if you can bring that up on the screen there that people can see. Brandon Gordon was a part of this initiative from the Food and Care Coalition a couple years back before he got reassigned to some other things in the city. But I've been to a couple of meetings with the Food and Care Coalition over in Provo. They've sent me this announcement just the other day that they have a program called the Circles Program. You can see on that blue side there, if you can read it at home, but Circles is a nonprofit nationwide initiative to help eliminate poverty in our own community. This is accomplished by surrounding members with the support, friends, and resources needed to enable financial stability. We encourage participants to stay with Circles for as long as this process takes. So they have an open house on Thursday, November 5th, coming up, and you can see it's a presentation at 4:30 p.m. and at 6 p.m. at the Veterans Memorial Building here on Main Street in Spanish Fork. So sometimes we get some requests from residents of how can I be involved, how can I volunteer in the community. Fiesta Days is a great option, the Rotary is a great option, Kiwanis, the Chamber. There's a lot of opportunities, and along with Wendy at Tabitha's Way here in town. But this is another opportunity for you to be involved in a volunteer initiative if you'd like to run with the Food and Care Coalition out of South Provo and come see what Circles is all about in November. So put down that date and we'll remind you of it again sometime soon. Other than that, I would move on to the Chamber Minute. Stacy, is that what we're calling it now? Chamber 35 minutes? Okay, all right. Clark and Stacy, and Clark's carrying some big purple bag today.
We brought you a treat from last night. Well,
Yes,
not a treat,
yes.
a toy.
These are from Chick-fil-A, which they have started a 4-day celebration of arriving in Spanish Fork. And their VIP night last night, and I'm really sorry we didn't see any of you there, but their VIPs consisted of their Facebook posters. People who had posted, one woman had Chick-fil-A luggage, another had, it was just funny stories. I'll let Stacy tell some of it, but we were actually lucky to be even invited to that.
We were lucky because we don't have luggage, but it was a fun night. And we just wanted to invite each of you out and the community for Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Chick-fil-A will have its ribbon cutting, and it sounds like they're going to be giving some food to all of those people that come. So we want to invite all of you city council members and mayor and anyone in the community that can come down. Their grand opening will be at 9 a.m. Thursday.
It will be. And they actually will have a flag raising ceremony. Miss Spanish Fork, Allison Isaac will sing the Star Spangled Banner. This is an incredibly important moment for them. Channel 4 is actually going to be there. When a Chick-fil-A opens, they have their tradition of the first 100 people who line up all get, how many weeks are there?
52 meals.
52 meals for the year, or if they want to have a family reunion, they can cash them all in at the same time. But they will be able to start lining up tomorrow. And so Channel 4 will be here to cover that. It's just exciting. I can tell you it brought excitement to that whole area of the community last night. Culver's, Burger King, all of them. The lines through the drive-thru were amazing. One of the great things was that they had flown in probably 30 or 40 young men and women from throughout the United States with Chick-fil-A to train on the opening of a store. And the thing that was a little bit, gave you a little bit of a chagrin was they were all staying in Provo. So
Clark wants a hotel.
I want a hotel. You want a steakhouse.
He told me last night
I
he
want
wants a hotel.
Let's get them both.
So we'll get them both. The other is, as I had stated earlier, and that is October 29th is Tom and Spence's grand opening at Doug Miller down the street on North Main, and it will begin at 10:45. I know that there is a luncheon. And they have been incredible to work with. They have moved it to 10:45 so that the luncheon and the report on Main Street can happen. Hopefully we will have city representatives at their ribbon cutting. Dad is kind of leaving that dealership to his sons to see how they do with it. And how the community reacts to it. So we're excited about that. We were excited to host the Meet the Candidate Night at the Senior Citizen Center last week. We had about approximately 200 people that were there, and all 4 candidates did a great job, including Brandon. They did a really, really good job. But we had a phone call today. We had a chamber member who joined today from Provo. So we can honestly say that we have chamber members as part of our chamber all the way from Orem to Santaquin. And that brings me to a guest that I have asked to be here, and that the farmers market, we want to thank the city for allowing the chamber to coordinate the Spanish Fork Salem Farmers Market. And I have invited probably, other than, I mean, it's kind of equal, the Gordon family and the McMullen O'Gwins. And I have invited Sarah McMullen O'Gwin, who is a resident of Spanish Fork, grew up in Payson. She'll have to explain someday why she chose Spanish Fork. But I wanted her to just tell you a little bit about what the farmers market actually means to her as a vendor, but also what she sees the farmers market mean to us as a community. So Sarah, if you want to join me, and I know I'm going to get some bad apples or something because of this, you know?
Thank you, Clark. It's a pleasure to be here tonight to address you folks, and I just wanted to second Councilman Davis. I really appreciate the service of the police officers here and the police chief. I appreciate all that they do. And anyway, I have known Clark just actually this season. It's been a pleasure to get to know him. But we've been selling here at the market for 25 years, and I was driving the truck over here when I was 15, and we had it over here at the library. And so we did it there for quite a few years, and then they moved it over here to the city building. Under the management of the city, we did pretty good for a while, and then it started to struggle a little bit, and things got a little bit unorganized and so on. So the Chamber of Commerce stepped up and took it over, and we work with Carrie Hanks and Randy Kaufman and some really great women there, and they've really organized it and taken it to new places. It's really nice to be able to come. It's a close-knit community here, and I just want to emphasize that we really enjoy coming to the Spanish Fork Farmers Market. It's a privilege to be here. We have a lot of great clientele. We have people that just don't come from here locally. We have Czechs that come all over. We have it in Delta, we've got Nephi, we've got people coming up from St. George. We have clients that come out of Salt Lake and that come to us and drive downtown, drive in this great city, and stop for lunch or do whatever they do here and participate here in the city. So it's a really great opportunity for us to be here. One other thing that we really wanted to voice that we appreciate about the Chamber is that they've made the market a true farmers market. We have gone to several different farmers market, and we have 7 different markets that we attend, and we actually stopped going to the Provo one this past summer because they didn't honor the farmers market. It wasn't a true market. It was trinkets and crafts, and nothing against those things, but to be called a farmers market, you really need to support the local farmers and the local growers, and so that's what we really have come to appreciate, that the market does that. And so we actually pulled out of Provo, but out of all of the markets, Spanish Fork is actually the most popular. We bring a lot of business here. We sell a lot of volume. There's a lot of good people here, and it's just been an honor to be able to work here and get to know Clark, and we appreciate him and all he brings to the city, and just that he cares about the local farmers. It's so great because they set up a booth down there at the market each Saturday. They make sure everybody's organized, everybody has their spot. They're with us throughout the day. They answer questions. They give us water bottles. They take care of us. They help people take things to their car. They're just very friendly. And we just really appreciate being able to have the opportunity to have it here, and it's gotten a lot better with the chamber, and I just couldn't thank them enough for all of the work that they do. So thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity. It's a pleasure for us to represent this community. It is.
Right.
Hey,
Thanks,
Clark, we got trick or treating.
Oh, yes, you say a minute, and that's the problem. It's not really the Greek in me. It's, okay, trick-or-treating on Halloween. And we will have the traditional Main Street trick-or-treating, which will take place from 1 until 3 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, the most important election in this community will be announced, and that is which one of the 30 scarecrows is the winner. And that might be Mike if he's caught in front of Rock Canyon, because if you notice, there's a similar look between him and Frank, the one they loaned the money to that's chained to the tree. But at the same time, and I know there are a lot of cross families that can tell things, but at the same time, in front of Zoo Wire in Salem, from 1 o'clock until 3 o'clock, we'll be doing the trunk or treat. And we're very excited about that. And we're very excited about the growth that we're experiencing in Salem. We just had Mel Hankson's son. We had Greg and Jeanette who joined. And so we are experiencing some amazing growth. And a lot of that is due to the pride and the progress that this community has in itself. And I will emphasize the progress that this community has. But while I'm here, I can't sit down before I say thank you to two councilmen, and that is Councilman Davis and to Councilman Dart. Both of them, one is a member of the chamber, and the other had sons that opened a business, and we had a ribbon cutting a week ago Friday, and Dad insisted that the ribbon cutting could not take place until those boys at Key Title had joined the chamber, and he made sure that they did, and that speaks volumes to this community. I'm glad I'm home, so thank you.
Thanks, Clark.
That's it, Mayor. That's all I have.
Yep, you still keep the longest time. Way to go.
Got a record going.
Care, Councilman Scobes.
Mayor, the only thing to report, we had a Veterans Council meeting a week and a half ago, a week ago, I guess, and they talked about different activities that they'll be doing, looking to plan over the next, 90, 120 days out and further, just looking at things that they're going to be doing, things to involve the community, things to recognize some people in our community for their service up at the cemetery and different things. And so just a good meeting. Veterans Council is getting stronger as they get more sure footing underneath them, and things are going well.
Good.
That's all.
Thank you. The only thing I'm going to report, this last week, we had the South County Mayor's Bowling Challenge. And I got to represent Spanish Fork. We went over to the South County lanes there in Payson. There was the mayor from Woodland Hills, the mayor from Payson, the mayor from Santa Quinn, and myself, and it was a tough battle, but I represented Spanish Fork well. I won, so I contribute that to my college days of bowling for ice cream sandwiches instead of going to class. So.
98.
98. And we didn't even have the bumpers on, so it was awesome. So, yeah, it was good. All right, thank you. All right, let's move to Spanish Fork 101.
We've had some interesting things happen at the solid waste district. One of the very expensive programs that they have had is the green waste program, and they are doing away with their green waste program and our site right here. will no longer be accepting green waste. It looks like this will be as of December 1st. But you will still be able to bring your green waste to the transfer station, which is right up here, just off of the exit. We've looked into ways in which we could continue on our own doing a green waste program, but it would add a couple dollars every month to every garbage can in town. We kind of felt like for now that probably wouldn't be a good idea. So anyway, so that's the first part of 101. The second part is a new online map that we have, and this is really done by the great efforts of our engineering office, so I'll let them present that.
Dave's got the mic again.
Little while ago, we presented to you the election map and the functionality that it has for our citizens. Tonight, we're rolling out a new one called the construction web mapping. And this construction web mapping will allow citizens to see construction projects in the city. So if they want to know what's going on, they will now be able to do that. There's a couple of different ways that you can get to this mapping. One, you can go to the Public Works Department, and there's a construction projects. Or the easiest way, if you don't want to try and find that, is just to go to our mapping site and then click on the construction work map. And this will show you all of the construction projects that are going on in the city. There's a couple of different ways that you can find information. One is just by clicking on the project, or if you're not sure you want to find a particular type of project, you can just go up into the search and type, for instance, water, and it will give you all the water projects, and then you can click on it and it will zoom in on that project. So there's a built-in search functionality for that. Of course, you can zoom in, zoom out, you can use your location. This will work with both computers, tablets, and phones. You can switch the base map if you want to look at it with aerials. So there's a couple of different ways of viewing this, and I'm not sure what's going on here. There we go. So there's a couple of different ways. You can look with imagery or just a regular base map. But to get us started, we've brought in both of our staff engineers, the one that's over our city construction projects, as well as the one that's over development, to kind of describe some of the projects and what you can do with this.
So what we've done is we've actually put on future projects and our current projects. So like down here, excuse me, over at Larson Elementary, we kind of have the project, so contractors, council, anybody can really go on here and look, and you can see we got the plans on here. If you want to kind of look through the plans and everything. This project was actually bid out, but due to the timing of it, we kind of put it on hold just because it is running through the school area. You can kind of see the overview of what we're doing here and kind of what's included in this project. But it does have all the plans, and it actually does have the bid tabulation of when we bid it out and everything that kind of goes along with it. So there's kind of a future project that's coming this summer at the elementary. We do have another job that's about finishing up over here on 100 North and 200 North. It's a partially funded project with MAG and just some sewer and water, and just like the other one, the plans are included with it, what we're doing, and everything that goes along that. Another future project that's we got a grant for was 800 North and 200 North water line, so that'll be coming up here pretty soon. We'll be bidding that one out. So we do have plans up on here, so like I said, contractors, anybody can go on here and kind of look at what we have. Now, future projects, though, or the plans are just preliminary plans. Obviously, those can change, and those will be updated kind of as we go through.
I'm not sure I have a whole lot to add. Maybe we'll pick out a development, Legacy Farms, or on these ones, we're putting the plans that were approved, DRC, Planning Commission, City Council minutes, that we can pull up public and see what's going on the subdivision side. We also have the approved preliminary plan. One other thing that we have that maybe is a feature in this notes areas where we'll be adding information such as road closures or timing and things like that to hopefully get everyone updated more. Another big project, this Center Street Bridge, that's obviously a big high profile. That's going now. Right now we've got the plans on. I just got a schedule, so we're going to be adding some more detail on what's going on with that and the schedule. At this point, we know there's a 45-day period where the bridge can be shut down. We're trying to hone in on when that'll be so we can get that out. But hopefully this is something everyone can use, and as you're asked about questions, as you're out and about, this works great on cell phones, it works great on computers, and is a great source for everyone. So that's, as we're putting information out, we're trying to point everyone here to here's our spot to get information. So.
Just another way of pushing information out to the public so they can use it.
Thank you.
That's what we like.
Fantastic.
Great job on that, gentlemen. Okay. Move on to the consent items.
Okay, first item is actually that CDBG grant project that Lua was talking about earlier. As with all those grants that involve some federal funds, we have to do environmental studies, and this is to approve the environmental review record that was part of that study. Next item is the Two Birds Investment property purchase agreement. Probably a lot of people have noticed, and in fact, it's even made our aerials of this area that's been torn up. It's been torn up for quite some time. We had to mine some of the clay out of here to cap off a spring expansion project that we did. Part of that spring expansion project required us to construct a twice as large wetlands pond near the river and fed by springs. And we owned a spring in this area, and we were able to get approved through the Army Corps of Engineers to build the wetlands pond here. In order to do that, we had to purchase the property. This property had to go through quite a few iterations on the purchase agreement, and this is that agreement. See the next. Any questions on that?
Nope, it's looking good.
You should see the pond being completed this year. Hopefully we'll be able to plant a lot of the wetlands plants and beautify it up. It should look a lot better than it has.
You've been planting some plants already.
Yeah, so it should look a lot better than it has in the past. A lot of people have kind of looked at the construction, asked me some questions about it, and one of the questions is it a pond or is it a stream? Because you can see a stream kind of meandering through there. Healthy ponds actually have in the bottom of them kind of a channel, and so that is just the channel of the pond, but as it backs up it'll look like a pond, but it'll have that channel through, and that keeps the water running through and it fresh in the pond so it doesn't silt in or stagnate or anything like that. So pretty exciting project. It was designed by a firm, Stantec, out of Colorado that has quite a bit of experience in designing these types of things. And then this next item is the revised Old Mill impact fee reimbursement agreement. We have an agreement with Old Mill to reimburse them for a sewer line they built in Arrowhead Trail. That agreement required us to reimburse them quarterly. With our new impact fees, we've logistically that's very difficult. We need to, when we approve one of these agreements, we need to then revise our impact fee facilities plan. That takes 90 days to go into effect once it's approved. And it's very difficult to even track impact fees quarterly on what we're getting paid, and then set a time frame on the reimbursements and get all that done. So this will simplify things quite a bit for the city and allow us to make sure that impact fee projects are on the facilities plan before we start reimbursement. And so we'll have a few more of these coming through, but that's just changing that. It doesn't change the amounts at all. And then this last item is CME Transportation Group professional services agreement. We updated our professional services agreement. We have a small project for them to help us with this, our asphalt specifications. We're going to update those, and Tim Beal, who's an expert on asphalt design mixes, is going to help us with that. And so this will allow us to do that. Any questions?
If there isn't any questions, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the consent items.
Got a motion by Councilman Gordon, a second by Councilman Scobes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Moving to new business, the Life Center discussion for and against. I've asked Junior to come up and kind of give the ground rules of what we're doing here and maybe explain a little bit.
Thank you, Mayor. As I think our entire community knows by now, council is elected to place on the ballot for the residents to decide whether the city would build a life center, which would consist of a recreation center, a senior center, and a public library. By state law, the city has to make that decision to put that on the ballot, to bond for it or not. As such, it's the council's obligation to provide a pro statement. And I'll come back on that in a little bit, but it's important to understand that the way the law reads, that became the city's obligation. The law requires, shortly before the actual election, that a public meeting be held, and in that meeting, both those arguments in favor of the bond and those against the bond be given an equal amount of time to present their arguments. So we have chosen this meeting at this time for that opportunity. As I've mentioned, it's the council's obligation to provide the for statement. Mike Mendenhall, as I understand it, drew the short straw and will be doing that. What's interesting is under the law, if there's not a group or an individual out there who opposes it, the city also has to provide the against statement. Fortunately, we have a group and an individual who stepped forward, and Scott Ward is going to present the opposing view. Now, in order to give each party the opportunity to present the argument and rebut the other, we've split the timing up so that they can have that opportunity, and I'll explain how that works. Each party will have 15 minutes. There was a coin toss held last week. The basic ground rules were reviewed, and Scott won the coin toss, and he elected to go first. So as the first presenter, Scott will be allowed 10 minutes to present his arguments against the bond proposal. Following Scott, Mike will then be allowed 15 minutes to present the arguments for it and also rebut what Scott presents. Now, since Scott went first, he hadn't had the opportunity yet to rebut what Mike has, so Scott also gets to be last. So he'll be first and last, and we've reserved 5 minutes of Scott's time for rebuttal. And rebuttal being in the nature of rebuttal, he's not allowed to present new arguments or new thoughts, but he can rebut what Mike's brought up, can reiterate what he brought up initially. So those are the rules, how they work. Now, we will project up on the screen a clock that will count downward from 10, and then 15, and then 5. Gentlemen, pay close attention to that, because this is statutorily mandated that equal time be allowed. We'll be very strict on the time that you don't go over. As it gets down close to time, the mayor will signal to you when you're down to about 10 seconds. That's not very long, so pay attention to the timer up here. so that you can present your arguments and feel like you've presented them adequately in the way that you have prepared. And with that, Mayor, I'll turn the time back to you.
Great. Thank you. Now that you got all the ground rules, that's why we have to bring the lawyer up here to do all that fun stuff. Okay, I would invite Scott to come up. And first word out of your mouth, your time starts.
So before I
Oh, there it
start-
is.
Rick Evans wanted me to announce and remind everybody that there's going to be a debate held on the 26th of October. I think there's going to have a panel of 4 people for and 4 against. And is SFCN broadcasting that? Okay. Good evening. My name is Scott Ward, and I'm grateful to be with you tonight somewhat. My family and I have lived in Spanish Fork for over 20 years, and I appreciate the opportunity to represent and be the voice of literally hundreds of families, thousands of Spanish Fork residents who are against this current proposal to spend nearly $44 million on a 140,000 square foot life center, $39,250,000 of which will be borrowed here in Spanish Fork. We believe that this proposal is simply too big for Spanish Fork, too expensive for Spanish Fork, and there are other options that should have been looked at and we should have been able to discuss as a community before putting this putting a bond proposal like this on the ballot. We love Spanish Fork. We love the small town feel. We love our parks. We love Fiesta Days. There is so much that we enjoy about Spanish Fork. We appreciate the city staff, particularly those who work at the library, those who run our recreation programs, take care of our parks, and especially those who manage our senior center and those who participate in the senior center program there. We appreciate the hard work and the sacrifice and the dedication of those who have developed our community and sacrificed so much to give us a community that we enjoy today. So we're not anti-library, we're not anti-senior center, we're not anti-recreation. Our opposition is only to this current proposal for a life center that is simply too big and too expensive. More importantly, we believe that the process that was used to get us to where we are today was done way too fast and with way too little input for the community as a whole. First, let me address the size. As I mentioned earlier, the proposal is for 140,000 square feet. It's almost as big as Provo's, which is about 160,000 square feet. Even if you add the library to that, they've got 117,000 people in their population. The center was designed for a population of about 150,000 or a population of 150,000. Provo is 3 times the size of Spanish Fork. They've got, if you include the library, about 1.7 square feet per person. We're proposing to build something with 3.7 square feet per person. People have said, oh, but it's the right size to accommodate for growth. Great. Show me the feasibility study. Show me the study that says this is the right size for our community. Where is that? Supposedly, this Life Center project was based on a recreation master plan study from 2007, 8 years ago. They like to say that the overwhelming number of respondents wanted an indoor pool and a rec center. But I read it, and it said that 23% of all respondents wanted an indoor swimming pool. That's 23% is not my definition of overwhelming. Also, if the city is relying on a survey for that basis of what to put in the Life Center, where's the data to support some of the amenities that are being proposed to be included? That's right, they're not there. Maybe you have a few phone calls saying, hey, it'd be nice to have. Hey, it'd be nice to if you had this. But you don't build a $44 million facility based on an 8-year-old survey and a handful of phone calls. Where's the data that shows the need for an increase in the library space? Sure, the library needs more space. It's an old building. Nobody questions the need for something to be done to address that. But the role of libraries in this digital age is changing. So where's the analysis of what role our library will be for the next 10, 20 years? And how does this proposed design in the Life Center fulfill that role? Again, There's no data and no study that shows that. Bottom line, this proposed Life Center is just too big for Spanish Fork. Second, the price and the cost of the proposed Life Center is just too much. Many people think that the cost of the Life Center is only the amount of the bonds, $39,250,000. Many people don't realize that the total cost is actually $43,950,000, according to information that I got from the city. That doesn't include the cost of the land that was purchased. It doesn't include the $695,000 that's going to have to be spent in order to prepare that ground for a Life Center. In fact, at one of the meetings I attended, it said that the $695,000 would have to be addressed and figured out how to pay for by a future city council. The city's putting in an extra $2 million as a down payment from existing funds. The Nebo School District is contributing another $2 million as a down payment. That's over $300 per square foot to build the Life Center. MOCA, the city's consultant, likes to tell us that they got those square foot numbers from other similar rec centers and Life Center type facilities that were built. Yet Nebo School District builds schools for around $125 to $150 a square foot. If you do your research, you'll find that private gym facilities, even those that have swimming pools, go between $100 and $200 a square foot, with a swimming pool being on the higher end of that scale. They're not built fancy. They're not lots of glass and lots of windows and high-end fixtures and furnishings, but it's still it's less than $200 a square foot. So we agree that it should cost more to build the pool, but not the whole thing. Now, to pay for all of this, the city's proposing to raise our property taxes, the city property taxes, 166%. This is the number that came from city staff. We've all heard the discussions in some of the meetings that say that the number's misleading. Life Center proponents say that we're lying. City staff says that we're just being misleading. But we're using their numbers. Outside the no-spin zone, they'll tell you that you have to put that number in context. They'll tell you have to factor in the overall property tax rate. That's only 15%. Inside the spin zone, you don't get to play that game. The city doesn't get any of the other property tax money. The city's property tax rate and the money you pay to the city for property taxes on your home or business is going up 166%. If milk producers raise the price of milk from $3 a gallon to $6 a gallon, and your grocery bill went up from $100 to $103, would it be fair to say that your grocery bill only went up 3%? I don't think so. They say that the average property owner will only pay $16.82 a month to build the Life Center. But that's only to build it, not to use it, and certainly not to operate it. City staff has projected in a very rough number that it will lose over $535,000. That money has to come from somewhere, and according to the city staff, city council will have to figure out how to pay that sometime in the future. Anyway, this proposal is just going to cost too much. Lastly, this bond proposal has divided our wonderful, wonderful community. I don't know if you guys go on Facebook, but a lot of people, most people I would say, are pretty respectful. Some people aren't so nice. And it didn't have to be this way. Supposedly a citizens committee was formed to look at solutions to these building issues, and we're supposed to get input from their neighbors. Well, I talked to some of the people on that citizens committee, and in their words, the process was a sham. Not my words. They said that from the initial meeting, it was clear that there were only two desired outcomes. One was either a big $55 million facility that had 4 buildings, including a city hall, or a smaller version of the Life Center, the one that's currently proposed. Why is it that only 12 of the 32 or so members participated in the entire process? Why is it that a proposal of this magnitude didn't have more time for discussion? We started 5-6 months ago. Citizens Committee formed in April. August, it's voted to be put on the ballot. Why didn't we have more time for public input? More time to examine other options? Prova took 2-3 years to build and develop their proposal. Other cities did feasibility studies and town hall meetings to get them to a proposal like this. It's really a shame that this whole process has put neighbor against neighbor over something that should be bringing community together, not tearing us apart. Fellow citizens, we love Spanish Fork. We ask you to vote no on this bond proposal and let us take some time to evaluate some other more reasonable options that really will provide the right solution for Spanish Fork. Thank you.
Okay.
Short straw.
Wait till the time's put up there and, okay.
Okay, well, I think I can speak for a lot of the city and the city residents tonight when I say there's a crisis on our hands. Pretty soon we're going to have Rod Dart and Richard Davis, out of 8 years of public service to their community, have Tuesday nights free again. And I think the mayor, or excuse me, I think the chief of police could back me up that that is definitely going to increase the crime rate in Spanish Fork with these two hoodlums free for a little while. If we don't get Brandon Gordon a safe place to get on a treadmill, we're all going to be in trouble too. But all right.
There you go.
Thanks everybody for being here tonight. All kidding aside, proposals such as the Life Center, it's encouraging to me that there's people passionate enough to discuss an issue this important. You've just heard someone's opinion how they feel the proposal would be damaging to the city. Let me clear up some misconceptions, some misrepresentations that have been fostered and fed weeks ago, and some of them repeated here tonight. After that, we can move on to the many positive benefits that are undisputable about the Life Center. We'll let pessimism and cynicism give way to realism and optimism, which is what makes Spanish Fork the best city in the state. First, $39 million bond is only for construction of the building. It's $44 million is what we're talking about. $39 million is the bond. But it's false to say that $39 million is only for the construction of this building. $39 million also includes the furnitures, the fixtures, and equipment that goes in this building. This will be ready to be open on day one. Also budgeted in that number is a 10% contingency that will keep the budget from being able to go over. That's a number that's important. If somebody's against this and telling you that, hey, there's more coming down the road, this could go over in that way, that's what's been budgeted. It's already been budgeted for. Number two, the city's lying to you about what it'll cost you in taxes because your home is worth more than the average of $202,000. Again, this is false. These values come from the county. If someone tells you something different, they're simply not telling you the truth. The subsidy has been discussed. It's been discussed tonight, and it's been discussed over the last few weeks. Detractors can tell you this subsidy will be over $1.5 million. The city's come up with a projection of about $535,000. After you take out what's already being spent on the Senior Citizen Center and the current outdoor pool, that number is $160,000 per year. They claim a 30% capture rate from our citizens, quoting us against Provo as population. That's not the city's number. That's a reverse engineered figure that wholly leaves out the fact that the subsidy of this facility can and will be controlled. If the patrons aren't there, the cost certainly won't be there to staff the facility. Remember, that's going to be the biggest expense. The largest expense in a facility like this is to staff it. You won't have 5 yoga teachers if there's not 5 yoga classes. There will be 1 yoga teacher. Put $160,000 per year into perspective. To me, that sounds like a lot. That's a lot more than I make in a year. $160,000 makes up 0.002 of 1% of the city's $67 million budget. The ongoing operations and maintenance of this facility will only be closely watched, the mostly close watched budget item in the city, and it will not be a drain on the city's budget. If someone is concerned about this, I would encourage you, it's been brought up to look at other facilities, I would encourage you to look up budgets of Provo, American Fork, Lehigh, and Washington rec centers who have all different sizes of populations. You'll find that Spanish Fork's estimates are directly in the range of our neighboring towns of what this facility will cost to operate. It's also been claimed tonight that the city has just taken the first idea it presented and rushed to a proposal here. To discount the years of work from the city and the months of work by a volunteer citizens committee is disingenuous at best. The first rendition and cost of this project that I saw was a $52 million price tag. Discussion, debate has ensued, and the result is what's being presented and discussed now in the proposal for citizens to vote on tonight. You don't have to take my word for that. I've went outside
both the city and the MOCA study and done a little bit of homework as well. I want to read you one email that I've received from a gentleman named Griffin Johnson, who specializes in this area, has built many public buildings all over the state and all over the nation, lives in Alpine, Utah. He says, Mike, I've read through the link. There is no question in my mind that the Life Center proposal would add value to the area. The facility will absolutely be well used by the community as well as by the citizens of other communities, Mapleton, Payson, Salem, Elk Ridge County, etc., even if at a premium or if subsidized by those cities if you wish to allow this. I think the idea of building a facility which will serve its citizens of all ages is an incredibly smart approach to this. Further, the method by which the city has undergone to understand the desires in terms of program and the appetite in terms of cost of the community for this facility are the right ones. No one can say the city has caught anyone off guard with this measure. I think you'll have a very good chance of getting your bond passed. Very important to see an outside perspective of somebody that's seen many proposals like this in his professional career. The inference has also been made that if you vote for the Life Center, you've somehow overcome the ability to feel empathy, that you're selfish, that you're okay with taking money from the less fortunate. In a public setting, this needs to be corrected. Nothing could be further from the truth. The data just simply doesn't back this up. I'd like to read you a piece out of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services program that's called Active Living by Design. It says this about low-income populations within a city. It says low-income people suffer disproportionately from health problems related to physical inactivity. People from households with incomes below $15,000 are much more likely to be diagnosed with diabetes or asthma, to be obese, and to be at risk for health problems related to lack of exercise than people from households with incomes above $50,000. What do they recommend? In order to realize change in the daily lives of low-income people, communities must be more mixed and compact with safer streets and more accessible recreational facilities so that routine, moderate physical activity can be more accessible, safe, convenient, and affordable and practical for them. When we talk about proof, I'd go to a study by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services that recommends recreation centers and recreation in your community, both for higher income, lower income, and middle income citizens. I've also confirmed when it comes to the lower income people of our city, and believe me, those people have a space in my heart, and I know in the city's heart as a whole, also in our minds. I've confirmed with 3 separate business owners and philanthropists in this city that have given more time and money than you could even imagine to this city. All 3 of them have confirmed to me that they are wanting, as soon as the Life Center is built, to set up a endowment fund much as similar to what's been done in other cities. That endowment fund is strictly for those that can't afford the daily entrance fee to a facility, the recreation portion. A lot is like to be focused on the recreation portion of the Life Center when we're getting it free for a library, and the senior center obviously needs to be updated. But the recreation center will have an endowment program. I'm confidently telling you that will be able to help lower income people get into to that recreation center. It's been discussed as well that this proposal would be a 166% increase in your property taxes. Again, this is false, to not finish that sentence. The proposal would increase the city's portion of your property tax by 166%. The vast majority of our property taxes goes to the school district, and people know that. Our tax for the city is 9%. It would be a complete tragedy in my mind that if somebody voted against this initiative because they thought their whole bill was going up 166%, that would be a misinformed voter. The other proposal that's been brought up is to vote this proposal down so we can come up with solutions for the library and the senior center. We'll worry about the rec center portion later. Or we'll get a YMCA to come. Or we'll find donations to build it. We want it, in short, we want it, we just don't want to pay for it. This falsehood might be the most damaging. Let's see how that's worked for our neighbors. In 2003, Springville proposed bonds and projected costs to build a library, police courts, city offices, and an indoor-outdoor pool with a rec center. 10 years later, to build those, it is a 100% increase in cost to build nearly identical square footage that they proposed in 2003. I have another problem with this notion that if the majority of citizens vote against this proposal because they can't square themselves with, quote, stealing from their neighbor through a tax increase for a lavish luxury that only the rich can afford, which is what some people have said of this center, and that's why it doesn't pass, then what changes with that argument in a year?
In a year, will it be okay with these folks if they still $8 per month instead of $16 as an average? If it's just for a library, a senior center, and a hot tub? Which should be discussed as well. If this is voted down, a new or remodeled senior center will not be built. It will be a waste of taxpayer funds. A senior center without a walking track, pool, fitness equipment, commercial kitchen, and included where the rest of the community frequents would not attract the up-and-coming seniors. These are not the seniors of the 60s and 70s when the current center was built. Our seniors want to be active. Some folks have decided that the $17 per month, to annualize that, times it by 20 to get a $4,000 number, which is scary to people. Folks, if your financial plan includes how you can save $4,000 over 20 years, you need to speak to a different financial advisor. This is exactly why bonds are procured by cities all over this great nation, so the citizens that pay for the asset enjoy an asset during the life of that asset. These are also very low risk, which is why retirement accounts invest in them heavily for a safe return on their hard-earned money. That's a bond. People like to call it debt because that's scarier, but that's a bond. Discussing this number with my wife, I looked at what else we spend money on, and I'm not saying you won't be able to continue to spend money on these items, but my goodness, what if our couches lasted longer because we didn't sit in them so much and we weren't so sedentary? What if our TVs lasted longer because they were off sometimes? My goodness, what if we didn't have to buy the new $400 game console and three $60 games because our kids were more interested in learning how to rock climb, play pickleball, soccer, or even swim? Now saying that, I literally bought all of those things last year, and it was over $4,000. Talk about buyer's remorse. To speak to what it costs relating to an average homeowner, I'd like to refer to the following if I could real quick. The average house value in Spanish Fork has been discussed and discussed here again tonight, $202,174. The median income in Spanish Fork is $61,848. The opportunity to not only bless your life, but the lives of your kids, your neighbors, the poor, the future residents that will call Spanish Fork home can be done for 1/3 of 1% of the median income in Spanish Fork. Now add a membership to the pool and fitness center portion of the Life Center. The opportunity to improve the physical, mental, and social health of not only your life, but the lives of your kids, your neighbors, the poor, and the future residents that will call Spanish Fork home can be done for 1% of the median income. 1% of the median income earned in Spanish Fork. Tonight I'm reminded by men and women in this community that were volunteers and statesmen over being politicians. They weren't interested in a title on a resume or the next step in politics. They were interested in the well-being of their neighbors. Many of these concerns discussed tonight are nearly identical to those expressed when bonds were proposed for the pressurized irrigation system and the SFCN system. And if you think those items were needs instead of wants, try to remember back to that time frame first. We were not required to go to a PI system, and we certainly weren't required to meter it, which was a significant cost. Detractors of both those systems were adamant the city was planning incorrectly and the city was injuring the citizens. Time has proved them wrong. While both proposals were revenue bonds and not GO bonds, it should give you some level of trust in the way that Spanish Fork City has operated and planned its finances and bonding in the past. Those items alone have saved the city over $15 million. Talk about financial trust and capital. I'm also reminded tonight of what's most important in my life. I won't pretend to understand everyone's individual budgets and hardships, and a vote for or against this proposal is a personal decision that I'm thankful everyone has the opportunity to make. To read you an email that was sent to me just recently about Washington's Rec Center, it says from this citizen, we were running in the St. George Marathon last week. The day before we took the family to the Washington County Rec Center, they loved it. We swam, played basketball, pickleball for the first time, and rock climbed, all for $5 a person. The kids loved it so much they asked to go there the next day while my wife and I ran the marathon. We came back 5 hours later, and they did not want to leave. They had made friends with the local kids that came out every single day. We had stayed another hour to watch them finish a game of 2-on-2. On the drive home, we talked about what we could see happening in our own lives if the Life Center was built. My wife's first thought was how fun it would be to sit on the deck just south of the border of the pool watching our boys' soccer practice while our daughter is swimming a few feet away. Can you imagine the joy of an older citizen might feel watching my son's team practice while they sit at the library or senior center reading a book just after they finish their morning water aerobics? My thought was practicing with the boys' soccer team in mid-February in the field house, helping them get ready to go when the season picks back up. We both smiled as we discussed the many friends our kids would make in the Spanish Fork area that they might not otherwise make. Thank the rest of the council, citizens committee, and staff for thinking and planning for the future, not only our great city, but a South Utah County Spanish Fork resident. Again, wrapping up and in closure, to vote against this proposal, for it or against it is a personal decision that I'm thankful everybody has the opportunity to make. I can only speak my own life experiences. 3 years ago, as Amber and I were serving for volunteers at Fiesta Days, she got really, really sick. Her appendix burst and infected her whole body. She spent 10 days in the hospital trying to recover. 3 years before that, she had a seizure in the middle of the night, and for months we spent in the medical office trying to figure it out. It's that time in my life I decided nothing was more important than the health and safety of my family, not my net worth, not my career, not how much money I have, or how much I have in the bank. I also realize the time I have spent on this earth is limited, and I'm going to enjoy every single day of it. Those against this have said the facility would be awesome, but the question is whether it's worth the financial capital. In my opinion, this proposal gives me and my family the precious opportunity to improve the physical, mental, and social capital of our lives. And to improve those with all of you, the citizens I love, would only be that much more enjoyable. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Now we get the 5 minutes rebuttal. Fasten your seatbelts, everybody. We're still going. So
I get an extra 3 or 4 seconds?
you get 1 extra second. Yeah.
Well, I think the more forceful and louder you talk, the more believable and true your arguments are. So I'm going to try to raise the level of my voice and make my argument seem more true. Okay, so he has said that the $160,000 is the number that they're going to lose. That's wrong. Okay, you forgot to add in the $180,000 that has to be moved from the senior center that they're closing and moving over. So even if you get that, you're still back up to about $350,000. And that's assuming that we sell 30% memberships, which no rec center that I know of, and we've called quite a few, none of them has done that. So that's an understatement. Now, let's also handpick the cities that we want to compare to. Let's pick Provo and American Fork and St. George. Why don't you also look, and I've done research on articles of rec centers all across the country that are either scaling back their hours, closing entirely, or they're passing off the operation of those rec centers to a YMCA or other private entity. So, is it okay for us to lose money? I guess that's up for the voters to decide. I'm really curious to see the full quote from the U.S. Department of Recreation, because I've read a similar report, and in that it says that we encourage parks, recreation facilities, and recreation centers. It doesn't specifically say that rec centers directly improve the overall quality of life. In fact, there was a person who posted a study on obesity, and I read the study, and I said, well, there's actually nothing in there that says you need to build a rec center. I think it's, when we have the tourism revenue, have you checked the tourism revenue of St. George? Because I looked into it. I do the St. George Marathon and the 10-year club. And St. George has millions and millions and millions of dollars, way more tourism revenue than Spanish Fork. So when we get that kind of revenue, I might change my vote. So if we're working on having a marathon here in Spanish Fork and Huntsman Senior Games and all those other kinds of things that will bring more revenue and help us offset that $500,000 or more that we'll lose to operate this thing, great. I think it's also a little hypocritical to say that you don't want to compete with other private restaurants when you guys were talking about bringing in these food trucks and stuff from other cities. But it's okay to bring in a rec center where Vasa, Curves, CrossFit, I think there's other places that are trying to build these indoor practice facilities. Those people are trying to bring their private businesses into town. So it's not okay to do food trucks that compete with local businesses, but it's okay for us to do a rec center for that compete with private businesses. I'm also curious to know if some of these philanthropists in town are only going to donate their money if the city runs the rec center, and if a YMCA, their other sort of nonprofit organization comes in town, they're unwilling to donate those funds to help the poor and the low income. I've also heard that having a rec center helps low income people, but I've not seen a single study that shows the number of low income or disadvantaged people that actually come and participate in a rec center and have those memberships paid for them. There are lots of PE programs, lots of school programs, lots of city-run rec programs that those people can participate in. We have a wonderful trail facility that those people can participate in. We don't need to spend $45 million, or excuse me, $44 million on this big, humongous rec center. Pressurized irrigation is a utility. I don't think that the same arguments, maybe the arguments were similar in addressing pressurized irrigation, but a library is a service that communities all across the country, no one's ever questioned the need for a library as a quality of life service. Senior center, quality of life service. Rec center, again, several people have said, look up in the phone book. If you see it in the phone book, probably not a government service. Can it be done by a government? Yeah, it probably can. And I guess we'll do it here if the citizens vote for it. But all in all, these arguments, as nice as they are, just still don't justify building this type of facility in a city of Spanish Fork. So we will still love Spanish Fork regardless of the vote, regardless of the outcome. Encourage everybody to get out and vote, make your vote and your voice known, and still encourage you to vote no on this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to thank both Scott and Mike. Thank you for both presenting that. You know, that's what the city's all about. Oh, yes, they're still our stuff there, Scott. Anyway, that's what this is all about. And I want everybody to vote their conscience. Get out there and vote, whether you're for it or against it. Please vote, because that's what we've done here. We've given you that opportunity. It's in your hands now to decide what you want. And that's how it should be, with the voice of the people, you know, telling us what you want, and there it is. All right, we will now move on to new business on the proposed preliminary plat for Maple Mountain Estates.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. The only part of the project that's impacted with this proposed amendment is right here, the area that kind of noting with the laser pointer, the southwest part of the project. The applicant has proposed to change the layout, not to increase the number of lots. The number of lots remains the same. The lot sizes remain the same. He's proposed this change at our request, as we anticipate, as you have approved, the purchase of some acreage right here with the intention of building a park there someday. The applicants redesigned this part of the project so that we'll have a road abut the park, much like what will exist with the development next door. You might remember that recently you approved an amended plat for that, so that rather than with the layout that we see here, a road will abut city-owned land on the west side of what we think will be the park. And that's really all there is behind it. We appreciate the applicant for working with us and making the changes to this plat. Frankly, I think this also helps with the design of a road connection over to 2550 East as well. But both the Development Review Committee and Planning Commission have recommended that the proposed amendment be approved. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
No questions? I'd entertain a motion.
Well, I'd move we approve the proposed preliminary plat for Maple Mountain Estates, master plan development located approximately 200 north, 2700 east.
Got a motion by Councilman Dart, second by Councilman Mendenhall. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passed. All right, ordinance 16-15, amending business license, recommend for itinerant merchants, child care, home care, occupation, allowing for mobile food trucks.
Thank you, Mayor. This is some amendments to Title V that address several topics that have come before the council in the last several weeks. And since they all happen to fall in Title V, we've put them all into the same ordinance. But these address itinerant merchants, child home care centers, and mobile food vendor trucks. So let me touch on each of those. You recall a couple of meetings ago, we had a large group of individuals who came and addressed the council concerning child home care and pointed out that our ordinance didn't match up very well with the state rules and regulations concerning child home care. And so we have made some proposed amendments here that first of all define a child home care, and we match the state definition now. We have limits on the size of a home occupation in the building. We limit it to 15% or 300 square feet. We have a couple of exceptions, one being swimming pools, and the second one that we're now adding is for child home cares, allowing them to use more than 300 square feet of their home. That also matches the state rules. Then we also just incorporate by reference the state rules themselves, and we actually give them a link to the state rules where they can be located so they can go look those up themselves. Now, we talked about spelling them out in here, but as we all know, those rules change from time to time, and since they're administrative rules and not statutory rules, we usually don't get notice of that, and then there's a huge risk that we would fall behind. So rather than spell them out ourselves, we just reference the state rules and put a link in there to the state rules so they can always be current. Second item we've discussed before as well deals with itinerant merchants. We've made a couple of changes. The one change is currently we allow their license to be good for up to 120 days. We're changing that to 180 days. That accommodates better people like the farmers market we heard about today, the food growers who have a growing season of various types of fruits and vegetables that is close to 6 months. So we've changed that. The other change we've made is we want to protect our city-sponsored events, the key event being Fiesta Days. As you all know, we have a Fiesta Days committee who authorizes certain vendors to come in and to sell various food items, various crafts and other items. And we feel a need to protect them. They pay to the city a hefty price for that privilege, and there's a need to protect that. So we have prohibited in the past the issuance of itinerant merchant licenses during the Fiesta Days period, and we've also picked up now some of our other celebrations. So we've thought about it. We have a few vendors that are here all summer. They're not impacting, they're not coming in to take advantage of the event. We think of the farmers. We've got the Harvard Farms that are setting up their stand. We've got the snow cone machine down here in First South. We have a few businesses like that are here every year. They're part of our community. We don't want to cut those people off. So we've allowed a provision that if you apply for a license more than 30 days prior to an event, and you're setting up at least 2 weeks prior to the event and proceeding through the event, that you can proceed. We think that protects those type of businesses who are really part of our community. The other thing we've done is we got thinking about it. If we've got the event going on here at the city office building, or we've got the event at the fairgrounds, and somebody wants to come in and go out by the Walmart and set up something for some kind of itinerant merchant, that's not really impacting our vendors who are paying the premium price to be here. So why not allow them? So we build in another exception that we will issue a license for an itinerant merchants during those events, during those celebrations, if their location is more than 2,000 feet from a location affiliated with the event. Now, the greatest impact that will have will be during Fiesta Days and the parade. So on that Saturday, or I guess it's not always Saturday, on the 24th, when we have our parade, that will affect a larger area than the rest of Fiesta Days when it's largely this building and the fairgrounds. So we'll need to watch that. But we felt that this was fair. It gives the itinerant merchant the opportunity to come in but not to compete with the vendors who are paying a premium price to be part of our event. We've spelled out those events. I should review those with you because a couple of them are new. The Fiesta Days, we've always known about that. The Champions Challenge Rodeo, that's become a big event, but that's relatively new. So we've thrown that in there. I shouldn't say thrown in, we've added that in. That's an important event. The Harvest Moon Hurrah, which has become a a tradition now over the past decade or so. The farmers market, which also is new, but they pay a price to be here and to be involved in our farmers market. We've had a situation 3 or 4 years ago where somebody come in and tried to go across the street. Well, that wasn't very fair. They hadn't paid the price to be here, but they were trying to take advantage of the location of the farmers market. So we felt it important to do that. And then the Utah County Fair. Well, that's become an important part of our community as well. We have the fairgrounds. The county is a partner with us on the maintenance of that facility. And we felt the need to protect the vendors who are down at the fair. And we also have major athletic events, and we don't know exactly when those will come. So we've allowed that at the discretion of the recreation director. But we know that the UHSAA likes to hold some of their baseball, softball tournaments here in Spanish Fork. We have great facilities, and they like to come here and play their games. That brings a lot of people with them. If they have vendors down there affiliated with that, we need to protect that. We have some of our own city rec tournaments. We have a couple of big softball tournaments during the year that bring big crowds in. If we have vendors affiliated with that, we need to protect them. So we've granted a little bit of discretion to the recreation director to determine major athletic events that are within the borders of our city. That largely covers our itinerant merchant issue. The last issue we've covered is we've had a group come into us just the last meeting, and actually they've been here twice. But they've asked for the ability to have food vendor trucks come and bring their wares to our city on public streets. For many months now, a couple of years probably, we've allowed food vendor trucks, but we require them to park on private property. We did that out of a concern for safety, getting them off the streets. We've had an alliance of our downtown businessmen who have come and said, look, we need to bring people into our downtown. We need to make it vibrant. We need people down here. We think bringing in mobile food vendors on occasion will help with that. As we've talked to the various business owners in our old downtown, they largely agree. So we've looked at that, and we've come up with a proposal that says let's allow them, we'll allow them to go on public streets. It has to be affiliated either with a city-sponsored event or a Chamber of Commerce-sponsored event. But we've then restricted the Chamber of Commerce, but the Chamber, you can't do that during fiesta days. The area we've designated is our old downtown area. So we've gone from First South, which will pick up the park across the street, which we felt was a key location. We'll go up to Fourth North. We'll allow up to 2 these mobile vendors between the intersections. The intersections are well defined. And we require, for safety reasons, that the food serving windows face away from the street. We still don't want people lining up in the street. We thought that was a good compromise for the safety concerns we had and the desire of our downtown merchants to bring these mobile food vendors in to bring foot traffic to our downtown area. So those are the changes that we're proposing. It was brought to our attention a little bit earlier that we failed to get the red line changes out to you, so it may be we'll get those to you in the next few days, and maybe you may want to table your decision on this so you can look at those. As with all ordinances, your options tonight are to reject it, to adopt it, or to table it for further discussion and action later. Thank you.
Okay. You got your 3 options. I'd entertain a motion on any 3.
Maybe I want to bring up, as we've had a chance to look at the agenda that's been emailed out to us, and I'm speaking maybe more succinctly to you that's here for the occupation ordinance about the daycare, is what Junior's gone over. I think we all, as a council, agree with, and getting up to the state code is the best thing to do, along with some of the vendor stuff and whatnot. I think, at least my feeling is just like Junior said, with the redlining that usually goes along with these ordinances that we don't have on our document now, basically shows us what it was before, what's been crossed out, and now what's new about that ordinance. Gives us a real clear picture of what we can what we're voting to change, basically, so we don't go back and have to do more work again. Kier's the only one that's tech savvy enough to get both proposals on 2 different screens and then do his marking out. It's like something out of Back to the Future or Star Trek or something.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Sure which. Rod didn't even know that could happen. But with the changes there and being able to get those within just a couple of days to us, I think at least my feeling is to probably look at tabling that to just till we get the red line document and adopt it in the next city council meeting. Not to say that we don't want to put a delay on anything you're doing. Continue to do what you're doing, because I think we all agree with what the level of we need to get to in the state ordinance, and also with the work that Brandon's done with the downtown merchants and whatnot. For the food truck initiative, we don't want to put a delay to that either. I don't think we have a problem with that conceptually either, but maybe just a documentation problem that we want to make sure that document's there before we officially vote on it. That would be my feeling.
Is that your motion right there?
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Like a long motion?
That's a long motion. Of course, I wouldn't
this.
expect anything less out of you.
Yeah.
Second.
And we got a second. So we got a motion by Councilman Mendenhall and a motion and a second by Councilman Davis to table this after we get our red lines, and then we can vote on it after that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Rod.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
A motion by Councilman Dard, a second by Councilman Scobes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are now adjourned. Thank you for everyone being here, even you.
This side. It looks very patriotic and very scary. 166% tax increase. But is it true? 166% of what? Opponents of the Life Center would like to scare you into thinking your property taxes will go up 166%. In reality, the average homeowner will pay less than $17 per month to build the Life Center. It will